Hello, Hopkinton. Welcome to the Hopkinton Hangout Hour. Today is July the 7th at 7 o'clock. So we are live, half from the HCAM TV studios at 77 Main Street underneath this sudden deluge. We're just transitioning back into studio, so look to see more from us here. And this half hour, we are going to be talking with Sherry Zhang of the South Asian Circle of Hopkinton. And you may remember that we've had them on one time previously, and there is a lot to learn and share with this group and with these members of our community. So tonight, we're going to be talking about the Chinese New Year, and we'll be hearing more from Sach in the future as well. So right now, Sherry, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you, Jim. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Now, this is a live show. So if people at home are watching us on YouTube and would like to put in a comment, we can take questions. Otherwise, we will just be talking about everything Chinese New Year. So the first question I have, Sherry, is when is Chinese New Year and why is it not January 1st?
Very good question, Jim. So that's fun. If you ask me what day is Chinese New Year, I just tell you it's between mid-January to mid-February. Each year is different, and that's because Chinese New Year is to celebrate the first moon of the Lunar New Year. So it follows the moon calendar. And we know the moon calendar and the solar calendar, they don't work. They're not fully synced. So in general, it's mid-January to mid-February in terms of the calendar that we know. And each year depends. This past year, I believe it was on February 11th or the 12th. Yeah.
The 12th?
I think it was the 12th. I should remember that, but I don't.
I believe that was President Lincoln's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Chinese New Year, is it 360? Well, actually, is the year 365 days? It must not be, right?
It must not. It's not be. The month, the longest lunar month is 30 days. So I think it's a little bit shorter than 360.
Okay.
Yeah, 29 days of the month or 30 days.
So that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is there a year like 2021? Is there a Chinese year as well?
Yes. So the year is just the same, but the what we say the lunar year starts on the Lunar New Year. So
Okay.
let's say on this year the Lunar New Year was on February 12th, right?
Yep.
So technically, February 11 was still in year of 2020. In some if people follow strictly the lunar calendar, they will still say that's 2020, but we are already in 2021. So there's always 1 month that
Yep.
that is kind of a little bit not synced.
I get. Okay, so now I got it. So it's not a whole separate accounting from a different date, like maybe
No, it's not.
like an emperor or something like that.
Yeah. So after a while, there will be a leap year in terms of the lunar calendar. So they will repeat that month.
Okay.
So that it doesn't fall apart too far away. It's always
Right.
about a month apart. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Just like we have the leap year, as you know, every 4 years.
Yeah, that leap is not the same concept though. So in this lunar calendar leap year, they repeat the whole month.
Okay.
So let's say right now we're in the month of May. Actually, in lunar calendar, we're in the month of May.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the years may repeat twice. So if you have a birthday on this year and you celebrate it based on the lunar calendar, you technically can celebrate twice.
Wow, that's great. I'll sign me up for that. All right, now Sherry, where did this come from?
You mean the New Year?
No, like the Chinese calendar, right? Is this an ancient calendar?
Yeah, it's a very ancient calendar, and in those days, people follow these calendars for a lot of things. Mainly, this is their reckoning of the time, and they follow this calendar for all the holidays, all the years, and but the ancestors they're very smart. They somehow found the relationship between this lunar calendar and the solar calendar. And so, in terms of the planting, harvesting, and all those schedules, when you need to do what, that actually is synced in with the solar calendar. So that is a very interesting fact there. That I did not know that in those days they had solar calendar, but in terms of planting, harvesting, and when to do what, they found their way.
You know
Yeah.
what's really fascinating about that
Mm-hmm.
is if we consider this is an ancient calendar, if
Mm-hmm.
obviously it predates like telephones and communications that can travel wide distances. So if you are syncing up your planting and your other things along the season all across your entire country,
Mm-hmm.
everybody knows when that
Yes,
day is, so that's kind of interesting. Without
it
any
is.
type of communication, you all are on the same page.
Yes, yes, it is. Yeah. And I don't think there's I never heard of any confusion about when to do what or when to celebrate what festival or what holiday. People know, and in China the calendar has two lines. The bigger font is the solar calendar, and underneath you find the corresponding lunar calendar days in there.
Okay.
So you never miss. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Now I am at a little bit of an advantage because I had the opportunity to watch a video that
Mm-hmm.
I believe you sent me
Yeah.
from the pandemic
Mm-hmm.
Chinese New Year celebration, which is really, you know what, the pandemic had very few things to recommend it, but the opportunity for me to see this because you did it virtually this year
Mm-hmm.
is really amazing.
Yeah.
Now, traditionally, what types of things are done to celebrate the Chinese New Year?
A lot, actually, and I have this poster here to help me remember all the things that we do to celebrate the new year. My niece made this, you know, a spring festival, a Chinese New Year poster many years ago, and I used it a lot. So, Chinese New Year, you can also call it as Lunar New Year, and is also referred to as the Spring Festival. So they're all talking about the same day. Um, first thing is eat. Food is very important, and once you get to know more Chinese culture, you're gonna see food makes a big part of our festival celebration in almost every holiday. And activities, we have dragon dance, lion dance, and there's a lot of celebrations going on around the new year. Um, the We wear new clothes. That's a tradition. Right now, I don't know if many people keep to that tradition, but when I was a kid, that is a very important thing that my parents make sure they can get us new clothes when we're kids. But right now, I think people are they many people wear new clothes more often, so it's not such a special thing. And for the kids, their favorite thing is this, the red envelopes. I
Okay.
think in the Chinese New Year Gala, you saw that there's a magic show about the envelope, and also there's a student talking about, he had a talk show, the skit about the red envelope, right? So
Yeah.
this is what we call lucky money, and that's what we give to the kid to wish them good luck. Yeah, so those are the things that we do. Chinese New Year, traditionally, the celebration lasts for about 2 weeks. So from the New Year's Eve from the previous year
Mhm.
all the way to the Lantern Festival, which is the 15th of the month, which is the first full moon.
Okay.
So between that 16 or 15 days is considered a Chinese New Year, and there are certain things you're not supposed to do within that year, within that period, because it will bring you bad luck, like crying, you know, that's one of the things our parents told us, don't cry within those
Uh-huh.
14 days. It brings bad luck. Another thing is like uh, breaking dishes,
Uh-huh.
like accidentally breaking dish because it's broken. Dish is broken and it's bad omen. So
Oh.
it just those things that you need to kind of be careful in the New Year's period.
Yeah.
Um, what else do we do? And you just in China today they still have like this one whole week off to celebrate. The whole country is kind of off. It's pretty much, it's not shut down, but a lot of the business are closed and schools are off. School
Uh-huh.
usually is off 1 week before the New Year's turn, and then all the way to the Lantern Festival. So it's a 3 to 4 weeks vacation. That's
No.
when they break their term. It's like our Christmas break, right? We break our term around Christmas, but in China, they break their term around Chinese New Year.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So is that difficult being in America where we do it around Christmas time versus the traditional time?
We adapt. Yeah, so right now we celebrate both. Here, the kids we celebrate a lot of the holidays here as well, and Christmas is one. And we adapt to the culture here, and we adapt some of the tradition, and we start some of our tradition. But on Chinese New Year, we also want to keep our tradition to celebrate it. We don't have the luxury to take the two week off, whole week off. But I usually take the kids out of school on that day if it falls on a school day, and we just do the things at home. The kids are supposed to wish the adults good luck and good fortune, good health for the new year, and we give them, and that's when we present them the red envelope and
Okay.
wish them, the same thing. But in terms of the new year, there's actually it started many. I don't know when it started to, when people started to celebrate the new year,
Mm-hmm.
but always there's a legend around the holiday, and the year in Chinese says Nian. So this Nian actually in legend it was a monster.
Okay.
And this monster was lion-like, and this monster preyed on the stalks of the, sheep and chicken and all that. So the villagers are very afraid of this monster. But a wise old man one day found out that this monster is feared of the color red, and so he advised the villagers to put on red decorations and on the wall. And so that is why we use the color red for the new year. So the villagers follow the advice, and so they scare the Nian away. So that's the Chinese New Year. We also say 过年. That means we are gonna pass that time, that day where the Nian monster showed up and people scare it away. So that's kind of that's the legend behind it.
Okay.
So that's why the color red, and red envelope, new clothes. A lot of parents will make some kind of color red.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that it's difficult not celebrating the full week or the 2 weeks celebration because you're in a different community now where we don't get that time off? Is that like that's
Yeah,
difficult?
I wish it's not too difficult. New Year usually is in early February or late January, and we just had a Christmas break. So it will have been nice if we have a longer time off, but I understand this is such a luxury there here. And I came to this country many years ago, and so I kind of have adapted to this this style, the way that we celebrate it's for me being able to take a day off or two and celebrate with the kids, and we do special food for the holiday. To me, that's very nice already. And starting in recent years, I usually would go into the classroom, to one of my kids' classroom, and celebrate it with the whole classroom. And we will write the Chinese character, the chun, that's the spring, and we'll write character fortune, and some using the traditional, the what do you call, the brush with the ink. And there will be an activity, and I actually enjoy it this way, that we get to share this festivity with kids from different backgrounds, and kids that some kids have never heard of the Lunar New Year, the Chinese New Year, and they get to learn it. So that is fulfilling in that sense. So it makes up for the you know the vacation that we're not able to take.
Right. If I could just ask you, if you get a chance while I'm talking, just turn your speaker down just a little tiny bit. So I'm wondering about the food, because you mentioned food, and food is something that really binds us all together. So many of our traditions and celebrations have food as a component. We just had the 4th of July, where you're supposed to have burgers and
Yeah.
dogs out on the grill. So tell me about some of the New Year's foods that you enjoy.
Yeah. So one thing that people know about is the dumplings. You know about the dumplings, right? So that is more of a northern Chinese tradition. In the south, we had hot pot.
And what's that?
So it's a pot that is boiling hot water, and it has some charcoal inside. It's a traditional one. Right now, you have the electrical one, right? And you can boil hot water, and you have a lot of dishes surrounding it, and people just kind of make their own thing there. So it's round table. So in Chinese culture, round table means the family is united. So that's what I used to have as a kid. But in the northern China, people have a dumpling, and that's one of the food. The second one would be I actually have some of these pictures here. The second one is spring roll. I don't know if you can see it.
Just a little bit, yes.
Yeah, is it better?
Yes.
So spring roll. The fish is, I think that this is one of the traditional food that across China people have. So fish in pronunciation is yu, yu. So it's also the same pronunciation as surplus. So for Chinese, having surplus at the end of the year is a important thing, and also your means that you're accumulating wealth. And so it's a tradition. So on Chinese New Year's Eve, we have fish, and in most cases you are going to have the whole fish. Yeah, and you are supposed to leave some left over for the next year, which is tomorrow. So you always want to have surplus and leftover.
Okay.
Yeah, so that those things, the food is when you talk about Chinese food, a lot of it is tied to the culture and the value. And so
now, I love fish. Is it a particular kind of fish, or is it just you have like many varieties and it could be anything?
It's many variety, whatever you can get. Not everyone live by the sea or the river, right? So pond fish, whatever you can get. Yeah, it's more of a meaning of having surplus.
I see.
Yeah.
So do you prepare these things in your own home for Chinese New Year?
Yes. So in most cases, I prepare all of these myself. And so in here, we celebrate it with friends. In China, you will celebrate it with your family, right? So, people go to work in different places, but before Chinese New Year, everybody goes home. So it's like here in Thanksgiving or Christmas, people go home, right? And you have a lot of travelers, and the airport gets busy. That's the same case in China. People try to go home for the holiday and to celebrate it. And so here we usually have a few family friends over and celebrate it together. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, earlier you mentioned the dragon dance, which I think I understand because that's a famous one, right?
Yes,
But
it is.
they're all inside a dragon and they're going down.
Yeah. So the dragon dance, let me see if I can find a picture for it. We actually, so in the last in-person celebration in 2019, we actually had a dragon dance performance at the cafe, Hopkins Cafe, and I believe we brought it into Elmwood celebration as well.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was cool. Let me see if I can find a picture of that.
Okay. That's just something that's just such a famous image of China.
Let's see. It's from 2019. Unfortunately, I don't have a picture of it right here.
Okay.
So, So okay. we got 2 dragons, and next time when it's when we are ready to get back, we'll do.
Yep. Yeah. So my question was, I had heard about the dragon dance, but you also mentioned the lion dance. I'm not sure if that's similar or different.
Lion dance is a lot harder. So for dragon dance, you actually you have kids holding the pose that you put the dragon on top, so the dragon kind of float. That's it's the kids need to coordinate, but in terms of skills, there's not a lot of like gymnastic skills required or kung fu skill required. But for lion dance, it's different. So those people will be actually inside the lion, like they will put the lion costume around them, and they will be crunching down, and a person being the lion's body, the other person being the lion's head, and the head is very heavy, and these 2 persons needs to coordinate extremely well, and they dance. You can see their feet. That's what you see, and they need to they do a lot of tricks, and they also jump up and down. So lion dance is definitely it requires a lot of skills. That's why up to this point we're not able to do it yet.
Right.
With the skills we have, we can't do it yet. But there's something we are thinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, referring back to last year's virtual celebration, it was really large. It was over an hour long. I can't remember.
It was almost 2 hours.
Almost 2 hours. Mm-hmm. Now, are there things that you would just say, hey, listen, what do you want to do as part of the celebration? Or do a lot of these different dances and activities have meaning for you?
So they all mean, this is just a time to celebrate. So, and it's also a time to showcase your talents, right?
Okay.
So the one thing that is very meaningful, and I think it's traditional, is the beginning of the part where, I don't know if you remember, is where that people say congratulatory words to the when people do this 新年好.
Yes.
And so that is, it's a tradition. When we see people during Chinese New Year, we say 新年好, 过年好, and we say congratulatory words. So that is a tradition that we hold. But other than that, the performance is more of a free form. You can dance, you can sing, and you can do skit, you can do a joke, you can do many other things. So those are more free form. But in general, we want the theme to be very happy. Mm-hmm. Uptick, so just be positive, so that it brings good luck for the new year. So that's the good luck part is very important during the Chinese New Year. you really wanted, the color red, all the things
Yeah.
that can bring good luck for the year.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I'm not going to ask this
Mm-hmm.
to try to make you sad, but I'm just interested because this sounds like a very important event
Mm-hmm.
in your life.
Yeah.
And I am trying to imagine myself if I were to move to another country that didn't celebrate Christmas, what would I miss about it? And what would I try to impart to my family about it? And I think as with a lot of these things, it just sounds like you had said family is very important, and usually you would celebrate with your family. Um,
Mm-hmm.
are, do you feel that you are bringing and able to produce an important part of your upbringing, an important
Mm-hmm.
part of when you were a kid, and share that with your kids, and kind of are they appreciating it and understanding it as you would?
Yeah, to some extent, a lot of the things that we held very dearly as a child, um, uh, the circumstance is so different. Things, for example, new clothes. When I was a kid, I grew up in a small village where we don't get to wear new clothes very often.
Yeah.
So I really look forward to the Chinese New Year's Day where my mom used to make my own clothes. So I would know that she worked very hard on those nights before the Chinese New Year and making sure that we have new clothes. So I really look forward to that. That is one of the things that, have a very deep imprint in my mind. But for my kids, it doesn't make that they don't feel the same way
Yes,
because
that's very different. Yeah.
they have new clothes very often and we buy them stuff now and then,
Hmm.
so they kind of they don't they understand me, but they do not feel the same way.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel it is not special to them. The red envelope is something that we can easily pass on from culture to culture, generation to generation. That's very they understand it and they looking forward to that as well.
Yeah.
Another thing is food. Um, in Chinese New Year, a lot of these food that we talk about, they are special. So
Mm.
you don't get to eat them on a day-to-day basis when we were a kid. But right now it's not special anymore. Even if I go back to celebrate Chinese New Year in China now, it's still not the same as when I was a kid.
Hmm.
Because I think the limitation on the what do you call the supplies when I was a kid is not the same as today. So um, right now, everyone gets this kind of food whenever you want it. Right, it's not special anymore to the holiday. So somewhat it's a little bit sad, but I mean it's different. I understand, and I just try to pass on the value and the culture to them as much as we could, and
Yeah.
and
And a lot of
hope
this,
they can
really,
pass it on.
the things that you're talking about are not about culture. They're just about changing times.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, it's not about. It's, yeah, yeah. And so another thing that we were able to do is firecrackers and fireworks. I did a lot growing up. And I really enjoy doing that. And I would light fireworks and firecrackers just off my hand and just throw it out and then do it on my hand and I was never afraid of playing with fire or anything because I grew up playing with that.
Yeah.
But then the kids, we just had the 4th of July weekend, right? And we were up in the mountains celebrating, and I asked them to light fire. In New Hampshire, they allowed fireworks. So
Hmm.
they were so scared by, lighting the fireworks that way. I was like, hey, come on. But yeah, so just different things. Time has changed a lot of things. And even now, the feeling of New Year or the taste of New Year right now is different. Even
Yeah.
if you go to China, we did travel back in 2007 and celebrated Chinese New Year in China with family. It's nice, when you go, everybody is off. The whole country is off on vacation, right? So it's very nice. You get to see friends very easily because everybody is off.
Mm.
And so it's nice that way. But I think time has changed since when we were kids. So
Right.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So one question I'm just like I'm dying to ask because I've heard that oftentimes when you have Chinese food in America, it's not really Chinese food. So when you are doing your New Year celebration and you're making the dumplings and the other foods that go along, would it be something that I would recognize, or would it be a very different style?
Dumpling is the same everywhere.
Okay.
So I think if you go to any Chinese restaurant, whether they have American Chinese or what we say authentic Chinese, I think dumpling they are all the same.
Okay.
There might be other dishes that will look different, but dumpling I have not seen it being very different. Yeah. But the dish that I make at home, like the fish that you can see there, I don't think you can see it very often in a restaurant. Can you see this picture?
Yes.
Yeah. So it has the whole head there and the skin. I found some people here are not used to seeing the head on the dish and they get scared. So that's okay. My kids are not used to seeing that, but they can see that and they can have the fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I must say that I give your presentation an A. It looks very good. Your
Thank you. My niece made that, and cannot believe it's 5 years old and we're still using it. Very good poster she made. Yeah.
All right. Well, Sherry, that's been fascinating. Not only to hear about it, but now that I understand it, I've always known Chinese New Year was off from January 1st, but I never understood why. And it's a really cool reason. And it's also really cool to hear when you talk about it, it's not just a day off and celebration, it's about family and it's about sharing food and clothing, which is, those are the things that are important in life. So it sounds like a really wonderful tradition that you're continuing on.
Yeah, we try to carry on. Here it's a little bit harder, but we try to carry on. And the Chinese New Year Gala that we hold each year, I think right now it has become kind of an event that even the kids look forward to. So I'm really glad that they think that way. And we're trying to make it a tradition as well here.
All right. Well, I think you should be agitating to make this part of the American calendar system so that we can take a week off and just spend it with friends and family.
That would be nice. Yeah.
Thank you so much for spending that time with us. And I look forward to seeing you again on a future Hangout Hour and learning more about Satch and your family and all the interesting things that you have going on in your life. All
right. Well, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure talking to you again and looking forward to talking to you later.
Okay. All right. You have a great night.
You too.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Hangout Hour, and we hope that you will come back soon and watch more of our community, Hopkinton. Take care, everybody.